You don't have opportunities like this in life all the time.
Right.
This is a $1 trillion industry that is ripe for disruption. It's almost like it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, it's like, how could this gigantic industry be in such a place where there's opportunities for entrepreneurs to create amazing value? But that's where we are with sports. And that's why we get so excited, why we love what we do, and why we meaning my whole team at 76 Capital, are all about looking for and wanting to invest in more entrepreneurs like Howard.
Welcome to Icons and Insights, powered by C360, where the business of sports, technology, and broadcasting converge to create the immersive media economy. Now let's get into it with your hosts, Howard Wright and Cher Jones. You know, today's episode is going to be really interesting because the changes that are happening right now in the world of sports, specifically sports betting. You know, you've got all of these states that have legalized betting. You've got the stigma going away. And then you've got the convergence of tech. And then you've got the acceleration of what's happening in this not quite post-COVID environment. But, you know, things are moving a lot more quickly than we could have ever imagined. And our guest today is probably one of the best icons in the industry to talk about, Wayne Kimmel. And so tell me a little bit about why you have suggested that Wayne comes on our show.
Quite honestly, Cher, because Wayne is a force multiplier. A lot of folks talk about being venture capitalists, but then don't take the risk necessary for the proper reward. Wayne puts his business acumen, his legal acumen, and his cash in play to find the next companies that are redefining how sports, media, telecommunications, and betting all converge on one platform at one time.
I mean, can we ask for anything more than that? I don't think so. Let me give you the professional introduction to who Wayne is. And Wayne is a sports tech venture capitalist, entrepreneur, and author of The 6 Degrees of Wayne Kimmel, and he's the managing partner of 76 Capital, the venture capital company he founded way back in 1999. So he didn't just wake up like this. He knows what he's talking about. And he invests in startup, consumer-facing tech companies in the sports tech, sports betting, esports, and the retail industries. So without further ado, you've already really hammered home why we need to talk to him. So now it's like, let's talk to Wayne. Wayne, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here today.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Cher and Howard, thank you so much for this invitation. And wow, what an introduction. I got a lot of big shoes to fill now.
No. You listen, we know the experience that you bring to the table, the experience that you bring to C360. And we just want to tap in to the insights of this icon we have in front of us, because you are an icon in the game. You know what's happening. So what I want you to do first right now is, like I talked about it in our intro, this game is changing fast. The technology is evolving fast. When it comes to sports betting, you've got esports, you got the tech. What has you most excited?
Well, for me, the excitement, and you talk specifically around sports betting, it's the entrepreneurs. It's the innovators. It's this idea that there's this opportunity to transform the $1 trillion sports industry in ways that people could have never have imagined in the past. I mean, we're all sports fans. I mean, we're Americans. We love sports. We're so into it. We want to play it. We want to watch it. We want our kids to be the next LeBron or Serena or Ninja. But like and these are like things we all think about, every one of us. If we're, a parent, a young person, a grandparent, I mean, this is what you think about. It's what you want to watch and want to do all the time. So the opportunity to actually transform this industry in ways to make it better and more fun and more interesting it's incredible. And that's the opportunity that we all have right now within sports.
So Wayne, we had lunch a couple weeks ago in Pittsburgh. You told me something, which is that we all knew it was going to happen. Eventually, the rigidity, the walls would fall down from the NFL and other leagues, but none of us would have predicted how quickly it is happening. I ended up tweeting that, and then I get all the credit. I want to publicly give you kind of the credit as the author of that. The velocity and the combination of sports betting on, this is my sports book with me all day long now in the 26, 27 states that I will spend time in. Can you talk about the velocity of how quickly this is coming together?
Well, it's all coming together, and I think, it's been interesting, right? So it started to all start to happen when Adam Silver wrote that op-ed in the New York Times a couple of years, Wall Street Journal, New York Times a couple of years ago. And when the NFL announced their deal, their $100 billion NFL deal, and sports betting was like the cornerstone of it all. And Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, says, we're going to find ways that we can engage fans through legalized sports betting. I mean, that was like the call from the mountain, right? Oh my God. The league, the individual, the commissioner who was so against all of this for so many years now has come out for it. And he's asked for people to engage and get involved, and this is the way of the future for the biggest league in the country, in the world, right? To go and said, this is where it's all happening. Sports betting is very, very important to the future of the league. And so now the opportunity to really build on that and build businesses and build companies that will just truly transform the experience that fans will have with watching the game, people playing the game, how that will change, how you'll coach the game, and of course how you bet on these games. It's just it's all happening, and it's so exciting as a venture capitalist, as an investor in entrepreneurs like you, Howard, that are truly doing things to innovate and create new things in the sports industry. This is the time, and we got the call, right? It's like,
manna from heaven.
Who would have ever believed it?
No, exactly. When you think about, as an investor, as you're starting to evaluate companies, obviously C360 was one of them, but when you're looking at them, what are you looking for? Is it the technology? Is it the people? Is it the company itself? Is it the brand? What are you diving into to say, okay, this is a smart investment. This is a smart bet, for lack of a better term?
Sure. You hit it on the head. I mean, it's so important for us when we look at a company. The most important thing that we look at in a company are the people. Mm-hmm. And it's where it comes down to. We are all about the kinds of people that we invest in. We want to find entrepreneurs that are passionate, that are smart, that are nice, that have really, really big vision to want to do incredible things in their industry. And hopefully also at the same time, change the world and make the world a better place. So we put a lot on the entrepreneur, on the executives, on the individuals that are running the business. And we want to make sure that they're the right kinds of people, because here's the thing. Being an entrepreneur, being a business person, it's not easy. Howard, everything Howard does just turns to gold, right?
Oh, you're telling me. Midas touch right there.
We certainly hope so for C360. But you know what? The journey of being an entrepreneur, being a CEO of a startup business, an early stage company, it's not straight to the top. There's going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be situations where there's no doubt about it. We have a deal. It's going to be about to be signed, and then it just gets taken away. Or we have a great customer and something crazy happens, right? And who knows what happens, and then we end up losing that customer. Like, these certain things happen and across, during the life cycle of a business. But the most important part of all that is that when and if those things do happen, if we truly feel like we're in a partnership with the entrepreneur, and we feel like we're sitting right next to them, and if something goes wrong to them and the company, we feel it too, and we want to help. We want to fix it. We want to try to but then most importantly, sometimes you just got to move on, and that's okay. but we can't, and we can't get upset, and we got to move on. And that's where I think, Howard, from your perspective as a former professional athlete, you understand that, right? Because you don't make every single shot you take. And if you miss a shot, so okay, you shrug it off and go take another one. Not a big deal.
Indeed. Cher, you see the energy, the enthusiasm, the kind of the ruthless enthusiasm that is, I think, emblematic of our board, our investors, Wayne, Jed Drake, Catherine Mott, Saeed, and others. They do not sit in an ivory tower and wait for a report from me every quarter. They're
Right.
active participants in this battle with the ecosystem. And so with that also, Wayne, you invested before you got a chance to go to our headquarters in Pittsburgh. Could you share with some folks, without giving up the source code, your takeaways on, again, the business acumen and the technical fidelity of the streams and some of the things that you saw at our C360 headquarters?
What was so impressive to me when I got to meet the whole team in person in Pittsburgh was, of course, the technology was amazing, but also the fact of what good people you have on your team, Howard, and how smart they are, and just also how thoughtful they are about what they're doing, and how excited and passionate they are about creating the next experience for the fan. The future that you and your team are building at C360, the opportunity to sit front row at the Knicks game like Spike Lee, and I'm taking your line, Howard, but to be able to do that, to be able to sit in the net in an NHL game and experience an NHL game from the net, from the blue line, to be able to sit on the sideline of an NFL game and literally be standing next to the players where nobody can, but experience that as a viewer, as a consumer. These are things that were not possible, but it's what you and your team at C360 are doing now. And that is what is just blew me away, to be able to see it, as to see the future. Your guys are building the future, and we got to see that together.
Thank you for that, Wayne. And share for maybe the viewers who are not familiar with us, what we are. C360 is immersive media creation engine for the leagues and the broadcaster. So we take these incredibly small cameras, apply our video as a service, our vast technology on top of it, and then from under the basket, from right on the sideline with a pylon cam, from right next to and onto the canvas of a rink for a boxing match, you are more proximate to the event than ever before. And if anything has been proven true, is that we as North American sports consumers, we want more. We want to personalize it. We want to digitize for us so that we can be our own executive producer. This Twitch generation, the Generation X, the Generation Y, they want to watch it when they want to watch it, where they want, how they want to watch it. If I could steal a line from one of Wayne and I's dearest friends and mentors, the late great David Stern.
I love it. And so you kind of brought us up to where we are now, but we have an awesome origin story that I would love to deep dive, because Wayne, you've seen it all. You've had your firm since 99, but you've been a part of this probably your entire life. I can tell just by your background over there. So tell me a little bit about how you have seen the technological advances that are happening, where you started in this sports betting world to where it is now. What's the most significant change in the tech, as well as the experience that people are having as a result of the tech?
Well, specifically with sports betting, I mean, it's incredible. And Howard mentioned it earlier, your sports book's in your pocket now. I mean, that's something that, I think some of the experts and they truly the experts and legends of the sports betting industry in America are in Nevada and specifically in Las Vegas. And some of them haven't even at this point really digested the fact that your sports book's in your pocket. They really want to be able to walk up to that counter, say the rotation number, the number of the team that you want to bet on, how much you want to bet, and they get that physical ticket. And there's something really kind of cool about that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also just not the way of the world. And it's certainly not the way of the world of like the stock exchange, right? I mean, even a few years ago, right? You would trade and people would go on the floor of the stock exchange and trade, all day long in person. But now that's all done digitally. It's all done through computers. And that's the way of the world from what's happening within the sports betting industry. And that's something that is just going to completely change. As we talked about earlier, we now fortunately have legalized sports betting from a mobile perspective in New York, which is really exciting. That will be live, it sounds like, by the Super Bowl next year. But then you have Florida, you have Texas, you have California. Oh my God, each one of those is like another country. Mm-hmm. So like these things start to happen, and it's just everywhere all across the country. The opportunity to really see what's going to happen next is going to be fascinating. And we've been really lucky at 76 Capital where, we've sold 2 of our sports betting companies to companies in the industry, one of which was called Victory, which we sold to Fubo TV. And Fubo Gaming is now going to come out with a sports book that'll be live in the fall of 2021, right when the football season starts, which is exciting. And to see the company that we invested in now is Fubo Gaming, and they're doing amazing things, hiring 100 people in Chicago and just growing that business immensely. And then at the same time, had the opportunity to work with the legendary sports broadcaster, Brent Musburger, and his nephew, Brian, and help to build VSiN, the sports betting network. Talk about an audacious, dream, and said, here, we're going to put a studio inside of a sports book. We're going to become the CNBC of sports betting. How CNBC has a studio in the New York Stock Exchange? We're doing that in the sports industry. And I got to tell you, I loved it. It was a crazy idea. It was a wild idea. We were the only venture capitalists that invested in the business. We're the only ones who stood by them the whole time when other people were telling them, you're out of your minds. It's not going to work. We're like, well, guess what? We just sold the business to DraftKings. And what we're going to be able to do in the future with DraftKings is even bigger than what we've done in the past. So we're super excited about that. It really gives this company incredible rocket fuel to do the next thing. And my gosh, when we start giving them at VSiN the types of images that we're going to be able to create with C360, we're going to take VSiN and DraftKings and C360 to levels that no one could ever imagine.
That's the fun part, Cher and Wayne. One of my favorite stories with Wayne is I got to meet him a little bit over a Zoom when I was being recruited or interviewed. And I think the second time that we actually had a conversation was, oh, by the way, the amount that we put in to C360, we're going to double that from 76 Capital. So that was our first kind of entree into dream big, have some metrics and milestones, how you measure those steps through success, but dream big. And the partnerships, I might get 2 or 3 different texts from Wayne during a day. I certainly get multiple emails and texts from him during the week, Cher, when he says, you know what, you need to talk to this guy or this gal. And he is helping us basically build this fabric of data analytics, video as a service, the betting, plumbing that is necessary. It's coming together wonderfully, and we're just happy to be part of the 76 Capital family because that combination of portcos and folks that are in Wayne's network absolutely help our enterprise valuation as well.
That just sounds like a relationship made in heaven. And of course, when someone's saying we're going to double up, when you hear things like that, that's a good day. So, that's exciting.
Finish the sentence. I said yes before he could finish the sentence so that the wire went through. And this is really part of this immersive media economy, Cher. Wayne and I talk about it all the time. Other investors, folks in the expanded networks, which is at the top of this food chain, is the leagues. They control all of the jewels, and those are incredibly valuable. That is the content. As Wayne mentioned, $110 billion over 10 years for the NFL, $2.8 billion over 7 years with the NHL. Manfred is coming up soon at MLB, and then comes Bill Koenig and Adam Silver in the summer of 23 and 24 to renegotiate the NBA's rights. These rights are going nowhere but north. And this economy is being created because the broadcasters need to differentiate their service. You see experimentations even with ESPN and their BetCast. These are alternate telecast, alternate commentaries. It is ripe for an aggressive company with defensible IP to be a participant in the immersive media economy, not to compete with the leagues or the broadcasters, but is use the power of the cloud, use the power of 5G to weaponize all of this for and with the leagues that are going to have to touch the consumer where they live, where we live. And that's basically on my phone, on my iPad, and not just on my 60-inch TV here at the house.
And it's interesting. So when I hear you talk, what I see is an entire ecosystem where it takes a bunch of players, where in the past, it's been controlled by the broadcasters. It's been controlled by the negotiation between the broadcasters and the leagues. But now there's so many other players required to make this fan experience work, this end game of that fan experience and the economy that is brought up within this entire ecosystem. There's so many players in the game in order to make this happen. Wayne, when you project, because we're already seeing the future, but if you were to wave your magic wand, I give you a magic wand to wave. What would you love to see transformed immediately? That might be, dare I say, 10 years out, although the way technology is going, 10 years means 3. What would you love to see right now?
Well, I think, the one thing that I would love to see, and I know this is what Howard would love to see as well, is this idea of personalization. Just being able to have what you want, when you want, how you want it, how you want to view it. Just to be able to be that fan who is watching a game in whatever way possible. You just want to decide that you want to watch the normal way we watch today. That's great. But if you want to, be courtside or be in the net or be wherever, those are the types of things that you just can't do today, but you will be able to do very, very soon. And to that case, I think that's very important. And by the way, it's certainly also something that I think is really important from the vantage point of the leagues, of the networks. I mean, they need to do this now. Like they don't want to. So we better wave this wand really fast. And Howard and his team are going to make this happen so that because if not, people are, Howard knows this better than anyone else, cutting the cord. I don't know. I did a talk the other day. I was with a university out west, and I wish I could have, been there. I really I love doing those kinds of talks and talking with young people, and they're so interested in what's next in sports. And I said, listen, we did who has cable, right? Across. And there was about, 50, 75 kids as part of this Zoom, and they're all college students, and not one hand went up. And Howard knows that, right? Not one hand went up, and that's not a good thing for all of these RSNs that have all these rights. That's not a good thing for the big, cable companies out there. They need to figure out how are they going to deliver a really interesting experience so that these young people will actually want to pay for and use these services that are, in many cases right now just looked as legacy services, and they don't need it because they just stream everything else and they're good.
And that's the point of it all, Cher, really. Again, back to the velocity and this new demographic that is demanding that they be in control of what they want to watch when they want to watch it. Gone, I think, are the days of old guys like me sitting on the couch and just having a 2D flat screen, 30-second commercial kind of experience for 3 hours. Now, all of us experience a game with either a secondary or even a tertiary device in our hands, in our laps, or very near to us. The community that is created because then Wayne and I can portal into a sports book or portal into an arena, stadium, and see each other on the pitch or the court. That new paradigm, because you have all this processing power, because you have all this storage, because you have all this bandwidth, I think that the step functions used to happen over a decade or so. Now they're happening every 2 years. And to Wayne's point, when this window closes, it'll be closed and somebody else will be the victor. That's why he and other board members challenge us to fortune favors the bold, which is you're our beachhead digitally with the IP, strike the right partnerships with the right digitally savvy and influential leagues, and then let Darwinism take over. Is find the best partners and the direct-to-consumer partners that want to view this and monetize it in ways that we haven't seen before.
And I think we're all ready for this now. When you have the right team around you, the right investors around you, the right people around you, and of course, the right tech going in the right places, this is going to happen, and it is literally, as we speak, game changing the industry. Howard, I know that you always love to, before we wrap up, there's like one question that you have been committed to asking each and every one of our icons. So I'm going to let you take that one away because, it is so important that we dive into the minds and the insights that we have in front of us right now with Wayne.
Mr. Kimmel, talk to us about the best day of your professional life and why, and then the worst day of your professional life and why. What did you learn from both of those extremes?
Wow, those are tough questions.
I didn't even prepare you for that one, did I?
No, not at all. But I love it. I mean, I guess one of the days I'll never forget as an investor. We love to help our entrepreneurs, our companies, and when they have success, we have success. So probably one of the most greatest moments for me was when one of my first investments was a company called Seamless Web, which a lot of people are familiar with today. Certainly the company that now owns them in the public company is Grubhub. And we were very early in the world of being able to enable people to order food online. And that was a huge thing, to go after. And the team at Seamless did a heck of a job, and I'm so proud of what they did. But when we got the call that Aramark was going to buy that business, that was like this. It was so amazing. The deal was so incredible. I was so excited, not only for the entrepreneurs that did it, but at the same time for our own investors, that we were able to give them all their money back, right, in one deal, right, and more, right. I'm like, this is it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling, and it was an amazing feeling that we had helped the entrepreneurs, but at the same time we had proven the business plan, proven the fact to our investors that we knew what we were doing as venture capitalists, we knew how to build businesses and prove our own thesis and take that and create incredible success. On the opposite side, probably one of the toughest times and hardest things that has happened to me personally in the venture capital business was losing my partner. When we was at such a high. Talk about the Seamless Web deal, the Take Care Health Systems deal. We sold Take Care to Walgreens. We had just had so much success with Nutrisystem and having Dan Marino as our spokesperson and being the top performing stock in America for 5 consecutive years and all this great success. And my partner, his name was Ironberg, calls me up and said, Hey Wayne, I need to see you. And he's like, you got to come to Cherry Hill where he lives. And I went over to Jersey to see him, and he said, I got some really bad news to tell you. I'm like, what's bad? I mean, everything's good. We've done so well. Our investors are happy. We're making money. This is great. He said, I have pancreatic cancer, and I'm not going to be here much longer. And it was unbelievable. I mean, I was going to say it was like a blow to the stomach, but I don't know what it was. It was just like, wait, we have this amazing thing. Like we're a team. Like what's going to happen here? And it was really, really tough times. And, look, he fought and lived for 2.5 years, which is like a miracle with that kind of cancer. But it was rough, and it took a while to really come back from that kind of thing, being at the highest of highs. But at the same time, it was like, wow, I can't, it just talks about how, fragile life is and why, you got to live life, to the fullest every day, every minute of the day. And that's what I tell people all the time. And if you're not doing something that you're truly passionate about and truly excited about, and that you don't want to jump out of bed and go do it every single day, then you're doing the wrong thing. Go do something else, because you may wake up or may not wake up someday. Right. So do everything that you can to the fullest. And that's why it's so much fun to back entrepreneurs and work with people like Howard and the whole team at C360, because they feel the same way. They know they're doing something that's really big, that's going to be transformative to the whole sports industry.
No, but Wayne, before we go, that was an unscripted question. You didn't know that was coming in. And certainly your answer has caught me kind of in a moment of clarity and lucidity, in that my father passed away from pancreatic cancer. I didn't know that. He too also was too stubborn to die and lived for over 2 years. But I do remember one of the last things that he ever said to me was, as he was literally on his deathbed, "I'm not afraid, I'm ready to go." He had lived a very full life. He was surrounded by loved ones and children and grandchildren. And I've taken that to heart since March 20th, 2007, in terms of seizing every single day, because you don't know when the good Lord calls for your ticket. I wanted to end kind of where we started, Wayne, which is, yeah, I appreciate the cash. Yes, I appreciate the friendship. But more than anything is that this deep reservoir of optimism and boldness in challenging us to stand up on the heights and achieve the heights that we should, that is the fuel that takes us and can take us to the next level. So for that, we are greatly appreciative, Wayne.
Well, thank you. And it means a lot. And it really, I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. And I know that we're going to do some really, really special things together, and we're going to take shots, and that's it, right? Let's just take shots, right? That's what you do. When you go out there and play basketball, you just take shots, right? And that's what, I know that's what my dad would say, right? He's like, you got to do it. And that's what it's all about.
Wayne, where can everybody find you online? I know where you are all the time, and I have your book up on the bookshelf, but tell folks how they can follow you and tell them about your leadership series, which we have stolen almost line for line in this podcast.
Well, thank you. You can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet at Wayne Kimmel, whether that's on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. As Howard mentioned, we have our 76 Capital Leadership Series, where we interview top entrepreneurs, sports executives, as well as athletes who are really thinking about changing the game, like Howard. And Howard's been a guest, who are really doing the next thing in sports. And that's been amazing. That's on, you can find that in pretty much any platform, from a podcast perspective, whether that's Apple or whatever you use. We're also on YouTube TV. Everything's on YouTube, as well as IGTV, where we also have our shows. And we love doing those shows because we get to talk with people like Howard, who have had incredible careers, whether it's from a professional Howard has both the professional athlete side of it, as well as, the business side of things. And a lot of times we do get into things and into conversations, and, we learn things about our guests in many times, stories they may never ever told before. And it's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing it. And we're trying to, most importantly, just make this overall industry better, and trying to help people and trying to build something incredibly special, because you don't have opportunities like this in life all the time.
Right.
This is $1 trillion industry that is ripe for disruption. It's almost like it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, it's like, how could this gigantic industry be in such a place where there's opportunities for entrepreneurs to create amazing value. But that's where we are with sports. And that's why we get so excited and why we love what we do and why we, we meaning my whole team at 76 Capital, are all about looking for and wanting to invest in more entrepreneurs like Howard.
Oh, I love it. And you can bet on that. So I'd like to thank everybody for listening or watching, depending on where you are taking this in from. Make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned for more icons like Wayne today, because we're just diving into what they have to offer the world and the insights you need to make smarter decisions in the world of sports, technology, broadcast, and how they converge into this immersive media economy. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next episode.